Hello, everybody. How you doing, Charlie? How you doing, Gareth?
All good, thank you, Chris. How are you?
Really good, really good. What's going on in the background there, Charlie? You've got loads happening.
Well, I'm in Norfolk, so yeah, just as you expect, there's not much happening behind me at the moment, or in the distance. So yeah, but everything's all good, thanks.
Not in Barcelona at the minute. You're jet setting from your HQ to Norfolk. I'm guessing for client retention based business.
Exactly, that's exactly it.
Awesome. How are you doing, Gareth? You're in your home office there, aren't you?
I'm in my home office, and behind me is a hot mess, which is a perfect euphemism for my current love
life. We're not going to touch on that one today. That's not for documented materials, I'm sure. So today we're going to have a good old chat about client retention, the current sort of economic climate, the current mindset of most clients. Retention is a huge problem for agencies because clients are getting scared, but also retention is always more profitable than new acquisition of clients in the long run. I think we will probably end up touching on quite a bit of an overlap around retention from the client side, but also from the agency side, because quite a lot of things can factor into that. Charlie, you guys at Minty have a decently long track record of retention. I know, Gareth, you certainly do, having looked after the ship of marketing signals for a significant amount of time there. Is there anything, like one little thing that you think that about you as a agency leader that's kind of helped in that regard?
Giving us caring. I was going to swear in my opening sentence then, but I held back. I think caring and empathy. Like I've worked in-house. Granted, it was the best part of 20 years ago now, but I've dealt with agency relationships, and it was back in the days of when I was coding HTML for a living, and just to request a change to a form required a 2-hour conversation that was billed and 2 hours of billing time to get it done. And it just made me think that, like, this agency don't really care about us as a business. So yeah. I think that sort of level of empathy towards the customers is what I try. Not sure there's customers out there like, he's lying, he doesn't mean it. But I try. My blessed customers, I try. But yeah, just caring and try and put yourself in their shoes as well, really.
And what about yourself there, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, similar really. It's just making sure that you're dealing with another human at the end of the day, whether it's a marketing manager in a big enterprise business or just smaller kind of mum and pop businesses. You need to be able to empathize with them. Like you say, if someone's going through a bit of a hard time, or if they're on a SEO retainer and they say, hey, do you know anything about this analytics problem? Don't just immediately put all of that on an extra charge of billable time. Be a bit flexible. You of course need to have your boundaries as well, with clients. But I think, again, just honesty, clear communication, and being adaptable as the times change is definitely something that every agency owner should have in mind when dealing with clients.
So let's do a little roll call. Gareth, you've got 2 things to introduce for yourself, and there he is.
So got Gareth, one in each hand.
Yeah, that's one awesome business in each hand. What talk a little bit about the agency before Coveragely, because I know Coveragely supports agencies in a great way as well.
Yeah, so I'm the MD or CEO, or however you want to describe it, of Marketing Signals. I've been running agencies for 16 years. I've built them up to several hundred staff and worked them back down to under 20 staff. I've never been happier with under 20 staff. We just do search, so SEO encompassing tech, content, links and PR, and paid encompassing a little bit of social, but mainly Google and Bing. And then we work with mid-sized to enterprise clients, less of the mom and pop sort of thing. We tend to look at if 8 million revenue as a sort of bare minimum, really. Then they've generally got a marketing team in house.
Yeah.
We don't tend to get on well with people that wear suits and stuff like that.
Then I'm sorry.
Well, your beard hides your tie, Chris, so we let you off. Then in the other hand, I have my fledgling digital PR reporting tool, Coveragely, where we allow you to paste your URLs in. We will then go off and grab all your favorite metrics, visualize it so it looks good on anything from a mobile phone to an 85-inch LED TV in a boardroom. And we believe, based on the data we've got, that it will encourage more buy-in from those that don't understand what they're buying from an SEO perspective. And that's not the first time I've said that.
I can tell. It's almost like it's like stuck above your screen to read from. Brilliant. It's always good to know your elevator pitch, guys. Everyone listening, if you don't know your elevator pitch off by heart, you've got to start. Charlie, you run Minty Digital. We've worked together there. Talk to us a little bit about who you work with, what you do, and try and do your elevator pitch as well as Gareth just did.
I get a bit nervous then when you said that. But yeah, so I run Minty. We're an organic search agency. We specialize in travel, leisure, and lifestyle. We've come to that niche within the last few years. I'm not afraid to admit, when we first started out, we were a bit of a do-it-all agency for the first couple of years. Do anything from SEO to Facebook ads to chatbots. Very quickly realized that, niching down into a certain area was the way to go. That's where we got all our results in, all our best clients. Moved to just doing organic search. And now, we've got a team of just under 20 people in Barcelona, or split between Barcelona and the UK. Couple of remote staff. I think I'm the same as Gareth. Like, I don't have any grand ambitions to rise to a 100-person agency. Very happy with where we're at. On the scale a little bit bigger, but the customers we've got are great. Our client relationships are great, and just not a big fan of piling the clients high and having to deal with the consequences, to be honest. So we've got a big emphasis on keeping the clients that we've got, and in order to do that, we need to make sure that our team and capacity is all in line.
Yeah, and one of the things that we'll probably touch on at some point throughout this webinar is keeping those clients in as you grow, you want to make sure you retain the ones you've got. And some of the things that are involved in that aren't the sexy stuff. That's the operational stuff. That's the delivery on time of relatively monotonous things that just keeps that trust flowing. And I know, Gareth, you've got ops people, Charlie, you've got ops people. They don't get to do some of the really cool PR campaigns that they can claim all the links, but they're an integral part to any agency's retention. We'll probably cover quite a lot of that as we go through today. But if we jump into the first kind of key talking point, anyone got any questions throughout the webinar, please ask. If you have anything and you're watching this as a replay,
Chris is having some microphone fun.
I'm not having microphone fun.
Your mic keeps cutting off a little bit, Chris. Don't worry, we can carry you if needed.
You carry me. You carry me.
I thought it was me, so I was just keeping quiet.
Sorry, everybody. I don't know what's going on. It's probably the local internet. No clients are the same. No two clients are the same. How do you guys go about understanding them individually and their expectations and needs? Gareth, do you want to kick us off on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So a bit like Charlie, we don't work on the pile 'em high policy with clients. At the moment, we've got 20 retainers and about 20 staff. So whilst it's not a one member of staff to one client sort of policy, I kind of know all of our clients. I probably had dinner with most of our clients. So there's a personal understanding of the challenges that each person has within their organization. I do the front end sales alongside my head of ops. So we get the operational team that are going to deliver the work involved from day one, which gets the buy-in from my ops team into the project rather than it being a surprise when it closes. So I also think that, like I said at the start, putting yourself in the customer's shoes, like especially as we get towards enterprise, where you've got other departments that are running the website, you've got other people involved that maybe don't fully understand SEO or why we need to do this. We've got a TV campaign. We need the homepage to look like this. Yeah, but you change the H1 to hello. So there's just a bit of empathy towards what they're going through. And if you ask the right questions in the pitch process, then you should understand what the goals are and what the challenges are going to be and who there's always a hidden stakeholder when you get to a certain size of client. So if you ask the right questions in the pitch process, and I have sat through and presented many, I don't even know how many pitches. I gave up on my closing rate because it started to annoy me. Just put yourself in their shoes and understand the client. Really, is the TLDR of it.
Yeah, and I guess to follow on from that, Gareth saying like the real way you understand the client is, like you said, that in-depth discovery session at the beginning. Not just throughout the pitching process, but also, you're not going to learn absolutely every single nook and cranny of a client throughout that pitching process as well. Like even in that month one and on a regular basis after that, we try to do, a quarterly more strategy catch-up session with the clients, but, really understanding who the client is, how their business is changing, especially when you're moving with those, bigger clients with, 100+ staff in-house that you're working with. Things change all the time. Staff come and go. You get new marketing managers, new heads of tech, different departments liaising with each other. Getting that clear understanding is so important. And the amount of times, like at the beginning, where we've pitched something that we learned very, very, very early on, we're going to do a technical SEO audit, and then the developers just don't feel like implementing anything we've suggested. That's something that's happened. I think every SEO agency has faced that at some point. If we get a clear understanding of that at the beginning, who those other people are we're going to be working with, what they can do, what their limitations are, it just allows us to, adapt our approach in order to fit, what we can achieve with them.
And how do you guys focus around like making sure everyone speaks like clearly in the same way consistently amongst all different clients? Because I think sometimes that can be an expectations problem, can't it?
I think from our perspective, like I don't feel like we have enough clients for that to be an issue, and I don't want to have enough clients so that becomes an issue. Like we have, don't get me wrong, we have SOPs and we have onboarding sessions and we have tick box exercises, for want of a better word, where have we checked this? Have we made sure we know this? Who is the, even down to who's the accounts contact? Like there's no point sending the invoice to the SEO exec, it needs to go to billing. Did we get the PO? I think it's just, I don't think that we have, personally as Market Signals, have an issue with inconsistency of messaging because we just don't have enough. Like we're so built in, or we're so bought into the client's campaigns that we're working on, that there's also quite often like there might be a pitching process, but there's probably 2 hours of conversations before we build the deck. There's probably an hour conversation after the pitch, but before the decision's made. And then before we even write a line of code or a line of text, there's been an onboarding session with 4 or 5 people at our end, maybe 3 people at the client's end. And there's somebody taking notes. And then the notes are shared as a editable document afterwards. So if anything's missed, you've got a chance to jump in and go, hang on a minute, no, we need this or we need that. And I think it's just trying to, I'm a process monkey. I try and standardize everything as much as I can. But you are right, no 2 clients are the same, but a lot of what we do in SEO is quite samey. So if we can agree a process, the end goal might be different and the journey might be slightly different, but the facets of the campaign are not a million miles away on every client, really. So I think my OCD helps a little bit as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the whole, you can.
What about yourself there, Charlie?
Sorry, I think I started talking then before you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with Gareth on the SOPs, but yeah, they get you up to a point. You know, every system in the world, every big business in the world runs on SOPs, and then after that checklist is done, you need to be relying on, you know, the team that you've got at hand to be able to deliver from there and use their own, you know, use their own process. But yeah, we're the same. Like every client we bring on, my sales process in particular, it's very standardized. TikTok, what one about? Checklist all the way up to the point of onboarding. And I mean, it's really important, again, like making sure that before the campaign kicks off, that everyone's got an exact clear understanding of exactly what the services are. I've had a few marketing managers before. I've got a few months into a campaign and I've thought to myself on a call, they're using PPC terms in the SEO campaigns and they're getting like services mixed up. So going back to the empathy side of things as well, like that clear understanding and that clear brief that you get at the beginning, you need to really make sure that the client understands that as well, because they're the ones reporting back to, you know, their bosses as well. And a lot of the times they might be told, hey, go and appoint an SEO agency, go and appoint a PPC agency, XYZ, and they might not fully understand it. They're relying on us as service providers to be able to do that. Yeah, and then there's a lot of cowboys out there as well. So, you know, just making sure that we're the ones that can provide that trust for them.
Yeah, and I think, but building trust is really hard in this industry. It has been historically, cowboys. What do you guys do apart from, you know, the onboarding stuff that you plan through to kind of keep that trust and build a relationship that lasts?
I mean, from our end, no BS in the pitch process. So, I mean, a lot of our clients are digital marketers, so you can't blag a blagger, as they say. Getting the people that are working on the campaign involved early doors stops a lot of Chinese whispers. So if you're speaking to the outreach or the PR manager that's going to be running your campaigns, then there's nothing lost. I'm riddled with ADHD. I forget all sorts. So I'd much rather get my team involved from step one, because they're better at note taking. So they're also responsible for the service delivery more than anything. Although ultimately I'm responsible for service delivery, it's my business, but it's their job is reliant on service delivery. And at the client's end, their job could be reliant on engaging with the right agency. So everyone's got quite a lot on the line. But just being honest and open and letting them know what you're doing, showing them the links that you built, showing them the content that you're writing, just getting them on board. But I think that, I mean, trust takes time to develop. You know, that's not something that's going to come in the first 2 months of a campaign.
No.
And people need to know what they're buying. They need no ambiguity. It's an invisible thing for the most part. I think I say invisibility all the time. You've got to make it clear. You are selling something which has a long. Sorry, Charlie, are you about to say something?
No, yeah. I was gonna say on the flip side of this as well. You know, we've lost pitches before because of other people we're pitching up against, like doing the opposite of building trust. They're saying things to the clients such as, oh, well, we're having people that we're pitched to say, oh, well, the other agency guaranteed us number one positions within 6 months or 12 months. And, you know, it's that kind of thing. I guarantee that those agencies aren't going to be with that client much longer than 6 months, because, you know, quick to get them through the door, you can promise them the world. But again, it goes back to being honest. If you're not being honest, and then you're going to lose the customers very quickly. And I personally think SEO is one of the most difficult services to sell, because with something such as PPC, it's very data driven. You can see what's coming back. You can almost predict results. With SEO, there are no guarantees. It is along the lines of, hey, give me X amount of £1,000 per month, and I can't promise you anything, but I can, based on our previous performance, we're going to get you this, but there's so many other things to think about, such as Google updates, AI, etc., etc., etc. You know, I don't want to say it depends, but you know, a real honest, you know, SEO salesman isn't going to guarantee results to anyone. But we are up against a lot of people in our pitching process that do that. There are other ways you can build the trust. You know, we personally, a lot of people actually tell us that this isn't the right approach, but it's our client retention's extremely high, and it's very rare, touch wood, for us to lose a client. I'll probably open my inbox after this and have about 3 people leave. But
it's because you shouted TikTok randomly.
Yeah. Well, who's this crazy guy shouting TikTok on the webinar? But we run on 90-day retainers, 90-day rolling contracts. We don't have any big discussions about renewal, but every 90 days we do a strategy check-in, and there's no re-signing of anything. It just rolls over, and it's worked really well for us switching over to that. And say most of the clients we've kept, I think we've still got one client from the first 3 months of starting the agency. So yeah, it's worked well for us.
One of the things about that is like consistent engagement, isn't it? Like, how do you processify that? Do you plan it in advance, or is it kind of like when they feel?
We don't. Sorry, we don't personally kind of plan it in. We do plan in every 3 months. I am like, I do have a checklist, and it's like, make sure I've checked in. By that time, I normally have, but it's just, there's a lot of things going on. It's easy to forget stuff when you're working in an agency, but I always try and make sure, that personal touch is there. A lot of our clients are based between Spain and the UK. So again, like Gareth does with his clients, I do try and grab dinner them once in a while, even just pop into the office to say hello for a coffee. Quite lucky, all my UK clients, most of them are based in London. So I just do normally a long day of having about 15 coffees from office to office, but works really well. But yeah, no, to answer your question, we don't really processify that. I think that is literally about human relations. Like, you can't really build human relations with AI. It has to be from natural conversations like we're having now. It's the only way you're going to build trust. And yeah, it's the way we do it.
We invite all clients to Slack. So they can speak to the people that are working on their campaigns, and the rest of the team can see the conversations that are going through. So there's no, I said this in an email. Obviously, emails do go back and forth, but if it's just asking a question, or if we're doing some reactive PR and we need like a comment up now, then we just find that being able to tag them in Slack is just a really quick way. And it just builds that relationship that they can... we do have internal channels for the same clients as well, I will be honest. But some of the conversations that we'll have about the campaign we'll have in the client's channel so that they can see us discussing stuff. And quite often they'll come and join us in the conversation. So we might be talking about, should we talk to them about that? Should we talk to them about that? And then the client can jump on and go, guys, I actually really like idea 2. Like, I'll intervene here, and I like that one. It's just as it says on the notes, consistently engage them, like get them involved. Like, this isn't, we give them a weekly update. We give them a monthly report. We give them a quarterly check-in. But if they can see the chatter going on in the campaign, then they can see that there's cogs turning behind the scenes and people are working hard for them. So that's how we try and build those strong relationships.
So I can see Slack is good for consistent engaging. Are there any kind of ground rules that you have to set? Because it could also be a minefield, right?
No wine.
Okay.
To be honest, we don't really have anything that we'd ever want to hide from a client, really. I don't think it's we're not pulling the wool. So I don't, if we do an ideation session and we come up with five ideas, the client may hate 3 of them. So I'd much rather they told me in Slack than waited till I was presenting to them. So I'm not really too concerned, to be honest. I suppose maybe we'd keep pricing data out, but to be honest with you, that's all organised at the start of the campaign. So there's not really anything to talk about with pricing data. And like Charlie, we tend to work on either a 3 or a 6 rolling. And I don't really panic on renewal. Like, I think most of our clients are happy, or they certainly don't tell us they're unhappy. So yeah, I think you just always just talk to them. Like, you're humans. Like, it doesn't matter whether we sell them ones and zeros or words on a piece of paper. Like, it's a person speaking to a person fundamentally.
Yeah.
So just be nice. Just don't be a dick.
I mean, hopefully that's a given, but we know it isn't in this sector so much. What about educating clients so they understand what they're getting? Is that part of the sales process? Is that an ongoing, consistent thing?
For us, it's an ongoing, consistent thing. Like every month when we send the report, we'll always try, if there's any updates, GA4. About AI, whatever it is, we'll always just try and keep a few of the top news stories of that month that we found. We share them internally. Obviously, we've got like a marketing and news channel that we have internally at Minty, and then anything that's really of interest to the client that month, we'll put a few links to articles in there and say, hey, this is happening in the SEO world this month. I think you should check it out, because a lot of them, they don't follow the tweets, the Twitters, the X's we follow, or the LinkedIn profiles, or the websites, or the blogs, and there's so much going on as well. It's very easy to, I've had conversations before with marketing managers where they've just read something and you can tell it's just something that's been posted online, but doesn't come from any authority. So I think they do rely on us a lot to navigate through that information and keep them updated with what's going on in the SEO world. And it benefits you a lot as well, because it just, reestablishes the fact to the clients that you're a subject matter expert, and builds on that trust additionally. So really quick thing to do on the reports. Just put a couple links in, check it out. If you've got any questions, book in a call. It just adds an extra bit of value. And
what about yourself there, Gareth?
Yeah, from our end, we kind of half of our customers are SEOs, and obviously there are good SEOs and bad SEOs. I'm not saying they're all brilliant.
The broad spectrum.
Who I don't think is. Yeah, I'm not mentioning any names. But then we also work with a lot of e-commerce managers where they talk to me about like internal site search tools and stuff I don't understand. So I think we try and in our pitch process, in our sales decks, we do try and get across in layman's terms why do we need links? Like they are the authority that makes your site rise above the rest. And if you start to use those sort of linguistics, then they understand. And you got someone paying you a 5-figure retainer, and the majority of their report is a list of URLs. If they don't understand what the URLs are there for, then it's a bit like, yeah, this is brilliant, but what's it mean? And obviously, we always put a commercial slant on. Like our KPIs quite often are the number of keywords a page ranks for and the positioning of that page for X amount of certain short tail and long tail keywords. But the more the client understands the journey, like some of our clients just care about the destination. They don't care how we get there. But the more they understand about the journey, the more empathy they've got towards us, the more understanding they're going to have. And ultimately, today's e-commerce manager is tomorrow's e-commerce director. So the more education we can give them, the more education they're going to take up the chain. And hopefully they take you with them, because you're the one that's providing them with that knowledge and that education that just sort of bakes you into their career path, and you are their supplier of choice.
Yeah, and a big part of that is, you bring people along the way. You need to be delivering quality work. You need to make that quality consistent. How do you balance the need for process, but also the need for creative people, creative thinking? Because you can hamstring people with 50 checkpoint bullet lists, or you can cause untold risk with a 2-point send audit report. How have you done that? Gareth, you've got years of experience working with hugely different types of people within. the agency previously when you were working with teams that didn't have the same way of working as someone in Manchester, for example. So how have you worked that out and worked out when the balance needs to be met?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously every task has its own levels of creativity, its own levels of process-driven output. Even if we were to look at an outreach process, there is certain parts of it which is black and white. Here's 100 domains, go and get me the email addresses for them. And then we've also got the creativity, which is how we're going to engage with these email addresses. What messaging are we going to put out there? So I think that as much as I am a process-driven SOP kind of guy, you can't force creativity. I quite often will tell my team to shut the laptop and go for a walk, and I bet you'll come back with 10 ideas rather than just banging your head against your monitor. So I think you've got to look at every task as it is. But and I'll argue my case here, there should always be a process, even if the process is go be creative for an hour and come back with some stuff. And that hour could be 4 lots of 15 minutes over the course of a day. So
yeah, it's hard to be creative when you're forcing everyone to sit on a Zoom meeting for an hour and saying, poking a stick and saying, come up with some ideas, be creative. Like, I think, there's a lot of people, I've seen it quite a lot on social media, and just from my own experience as well. Like, all people's best ideas come from, I walk to work sometimes and walk along the beach. That wasn't a humble brag, but living in Barcelona. But
It was.
Take a walk along the beach, look out into the sea, and that's where all my best ideas come up. But we'd encourage the team to do the same as well. We're not going to lock people in a meeting room and say come up with ideas, but like Gareth says, the process has to be there in place still. So where up until that point there will be a process which says, hey, we'll have the meeting with the client, we'll go back and forth with some initial ideas, we'll look at the competitors, we'll see what else is currently trending at the moment, see what's worked, what hasn't, what a journalist writing about, all the way up to that point where it's like, okay, we filled your brain with the information. Now, go think for yourself, and then we'll check in again, in a few days' time, present your ideas then. So it's checklisted up to a point.
And one of the key things, I think, because you are selling an invisible thing, is measuring value, but the leading measures up to the lagging measure of actual success. The lagging measure is X amount of links or Y sales. How do you, first I'll go to you, Charlie, how are you guys kind of showing value in the invisible stuff that you guys do?
Yeah, it's quite a difficult, it's always been a difficult thing. So you actually recommended me a really good book. I think it's Selling the Invisible.
Oh yeah.
Really very interesting. And it's like, how do you quantify if you're charging someone, let's say, a 5-figure retainer, and then there's a massive difference between, as Gareth says, just providing them a list of URLs and saying, hey, here are your links, DA30, that's the box ticked. Doesn't really mean much to a marketing manager. That doesn't mean much to the boss they're going to be explaining that to, which probably doesn't even understand SEO. For us, what it comes down to is, I say, benchmarking. When we start a campaign with a customer, seeing where we're actually starting from, historical performance, and then from there on a month-by-month basis, we personally use just analytics, Google Data Studio, a couple of other tools as well. We just try to visualize that growth and tie that in with annotations or whatever else we need to each month with the client, so they can demonstrate, they can see the value of the results we're bringing. I always think it's really important as well to jump on the call with the client, talk them through it. If you send the report through, I wish I had an analytics tool for the reports that we sent through, because I do feel like sometimes it's happened, maybe they don't even get opened. So I do think it's important because they're so happy. That's what it is. But I think, get them on a call and say, hey, look, here's what we've done this month. Here's the value it's brought, and here's what else we're going to be working towards. That human conversation. I'd also think, the amount of emails, well, everything people get nowadays, communication wise, you don't blame people if they do just skim over a report as well. It's just another thing to read, as long as they're happy and their results are coming in. You do kind of have to actually push people and say, hey, look, this is important. You're paying us a lot of money. We really need to demonstrate the value of what we're doing for you. So let's jump on a call. And I think it makes them value a bit more as well, not just another number.
I can speak to the not scrolling thing. We spent an inordinate amount of money in the past to build a subdomain reporting feature with lots of custom fields and things in the back end. And I put event tracking for scroll on there. And yeah, you'd get past the first 10% on average. But maybe it was just the terrible design. Gareth, this is a really good opportunity from showing that value point of view to talk about Coveragely specifically. I know that it's a relatively new platform, but I know that it's come out of years of you trying to show this to your own clients. So do you want to talk about kind of how to show some of that kind of building up value over time kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that spreadsheet of URLs. Like, what the hell is this? Like, at least if you're getting something visual, then they're at least gonna, oh, I recognize that publication. Oh, look, we were in Hello. Oh, brilliant. We got a link from the Daily Mail. I don't necessarily want to be in the Daily Mail, but they do give a followed link. So there are pros and cons. It depends what you're selling. One of our clients sells metal guttering to grade 2 listed houses. The Daily Mail is probably on a lot of coffee tables in those houses. So it's a perfect match. I think just trying to get them to understand what they're getting for their money. But again, every client is different. We were working with a London divorce lawyer. He's only a one-man band, so he wasn't like some crazy big legal firm. And every month we'd say to him, right, we'll prepare your report. Don't need a report, the phone's ringing. So like the proof's in the pudding. Like he doesn't need a report because he's making more money than he's paying us. And granted, like that used to drive me mad because efficiencies. But if he's happy, he'd rather we spent an extra hour, 2 hours a month doing stuff than telling him stuff. Yeah. So that's a brilliant customer for us. And I also find, and this is something that we're trying to work out how we put into a tool, and it might not be covered, it might be another tool that we look to build. One of the things that I find that really gets customers understanding value and progress is how we doing versus the competition. So we take a benchmark at the start of every campaign with 3 to 4, sometimes up to 5, depends how much they want to put into that section of the campaign. Competitors. So our bras page is ranking for 1,000 keywords. Victoria's Secrets is ranking for 1,200 keywords. So we know we're 200 keywords behind. So what do we need to do to get there? Then after 3 months, Victoria's Secrets might be ranking for 1,300 and we're on 1,200. So we're catching them. So trying to put like non-SEO value props into the mix gets the accountants off your case, gets the commercial team on side, gets the e-commerce managers that don't give a shit what DR, DA, TF, CF. Like most of my e-commerce managers think that we speak in riddles sometimes.
It does sound like you just did.
But we need to start talking in a language that the client understands, which is sales, conversions, visits, ranking keywords. Like that is like English, not SEO-ish. Yeah. So that's where we just try, and again, it's human to human communication. So talk to them in the language that they understand. You can speak to the SEO team. Like, a lot of the time we have 2 reports, one for the SEO team, one for the people the SEO team have to send it to. So that works for us.
That's good. Again, as well, it's like when you're reporting on those metrics as well, it's like, it's all right if you're ranking for 1,000 keywords, but if none of them are transactional keywords, if they're all just like vanity keywords, it doesn't make a difference. So it's like, okay, you're ranking for 1,000 keywords, X amount of those are transactional and they've equated to X amount of revenue for your business. Here's what we're going to double down on. It's, just taking it past that bare minimum of, the automated export you can get from something like SEMrush and making sure you're, really demonstrating that value.
Yep, agreed. And so you've got your value, you've got your clients. How do you develop? And do you develop any long-term retention programs? I know, like for example, NPS and client feedback surveys are really, really important. Gareth, in the years that you've been running agencies, What kind of loyalty stuff have you been not touched, as it were?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty light touch on this sort of stuff because I'm very much a believer that we work in performance marketing. And if you're not performing, then the client's going to move on. So you can send them all the surveys you want. If they're not making more than what they pay you, then they're not, who gives a shit what they tell you on the survey? I'm more interested in how the client's getting on with my team a lot of the time. Like, are you happy with who's doing the work for you? Are you happy with their output? Are you happy with the reporting format? Have you changed your internal branding and we're still sending the report in the old branding? So we're creating more work for you when we send the report. So I think again, like Charlie, we're on sort of that 90, 180 day rolling retainer. The proof's in the pudding, and our average client retention, I was doing some M&A chatter with someone the other day. Our average client is 2.8 years at the moment. So that says to me that I can be comfortable to be in a 90 to 180 day contract, because the likelihood is they're going to stay for nigh on 3 years. And it's probably skewed because we won a couple of, I think we won 3 new clients in the last quarter. So it's probably 3 years plus, really. So I'd love to say that we, survey all our customers, and I've just never seen a need to, but I also put that down to the fact that we've got about 20 customers. Like, it's not like I've got 150. In the old manual link building days when we were working on thousands of domains a month, maybe we should have done more of that stuff. So we were just busy copy pasting into spam websites. But I think with 20 clients, I speak to them like they've all got their own Slack channel. They've all got access to me on Slack whenever they want. If there's a problem, like, I don't live in an ivory tower. Like, they can just come and grab me. Like, I actually quite like it when they come to me and talk to me about campaign stuff. It gets a bit boring just being the boss. So yeah, I'm not really probably not got the answers that the listeners are looking for on that one. Other than if you do a good job, then you shouldn't really have to worry about NPS and periodical reviews. Our reviews periodically tend to be more, has your business needs changed, rather than is the campaign needed, or is the campaign going well? It's more like, what you're selling now that we weren't 6 months ago. Why didn't you tell me about that when you got some into stock? Why didn't you tell me about that when you got them into stock 3 months ago? So, and again, the dealing with problems, we have open comms channels. So, like, the problems should be dealt with before they become a problem, really.
And Charlie, how are you getting feedback loops from clients beyond, like, you're just having a call with them? Is there anything that you kind of touch with them on? Yeah,
I mean, Gareth made a point then. He said he doesn't think it's the answer that some of the listeners are looking for, but I actually think it is. If you're trying to lock people into like these big long-term, 12, 15-month contracts, the 90-day kind of proves to people, hey, look, we're not going to lock you in. You can trust us. Like, we're not going to try and keep you in for 12 months if you're unhappy. We don't really need to do those regular feedbacks. Like, we do just do the quarterly kind of strategy call, and that covers everything. It's just more of a conversation, to be honest. I try and do it in person. I still think there's massive value in that, even though it's impossible. Some of our clients are in the States. I wish I could pop over to the States every 3 months, but it's not possible. But yeah, just go and see people in person. A lot of the time we talk a bit about business, but most of the conversations just having a coffee or a beer, and just more of a friendly catch up. And I just think the point I'm trying to get to is, as long as you can be on the phone at the end of the phone with a client, as long as you are that point, you're not, like, say, as Gareth says, hiding yourself in an ivory tower. You don't really need to be doing really in-depth regular check-ins with the client. It's more of like an ongoing process anyway. So TLDR, it's just like, just keep close communications with your client. Make sure there's at least some kind of check-in, where you can actually ask those questions if things have changed. And that should be all you need to keep your clients happy.
So super snappy. One answer on this one. Clients are jittery at the minute. Agency people, they know they're doing a good job for the most part. What is the one kind of red flag that you look for with a client that you think, oh, they might need a bit of TLC, or they could be churning soon?
I think one thing is maybe not a red flag they're going to leave to, but one thing you do always need to take really seriously is if a new marketing manager comes in, a new CEO, if your main point of contact is being replaced, or if someone's leaving, they've probably got a list of agencies they've worked with previously. They've probably got their trusted list. You can't just expect that to be a smooth transition. You're going to have to repitch. Go and see them if it's a big client. Get them on a call. You need to build that trust, because they're probably going to try and pick holes in absolutely everything you've done over the last, X amount of months you've been working with them. So yeah, that'd be something I'd say. Like, if a new marketing manager's come in, if someone's leaving, someone's been laid off, don't ignore that. Address it and build that trust again. Repitch them if you have to.
But also look at where the person that's left's gone. Because you might be able to get them over there. For me, I never like it when a new name ends up in the email threads. So we're having an email chat and it's like the same 3 people in the marketing team all the time. Then all of a sudden, Diane is added to the chain. Who's Diane?
Who's Diane?
That accounts.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and there's also sometimes where you're making money for the client, or you're getting the leads, you're hitting your target KPIs, because it's not always money as the KPI for us. But then all of a sudden they're asking for more granularity in what you're doing. Now that could just be coming from the bean counters at their end, because they're watching everything. Or it could be they're thinking, hang on a minute, we're paying X. What are we actually getting for that? Could we in-house that? Could we split that retainer into 3 specialists rather than just one agency? So yeah, I think it's but again, I think with building strong relationships with your clients, and then I'd like to think most of my clients it'd be absolute shits to do that without giving us a heads up, in a way, right? Because you not saying we're mates with all of our clients, but we kind of have that relationship where they should be able to approach us and have an adult conversation rather than just silently killing us, dumping us by text.
Yeah.
Lads, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for everyone for putting up with my very expensive but patchy Wi-Fi today. God knows what's going on there. Charlie, thanks very much. Enjoy everything in Norfolk. It's full of wonders. Gareth, hopefully see you on the 19th of October at the OMG IRL. Charlie, I think you might be flying all the way from Barcelona for that one.
Yeah, no, I will be. Yeah, I've not spent much time in Manchester, so yeah.
It's better than Norfolk. No, it's not. Everyone in Norfolk is lovely. Thanks very much, everyone. Parting words. I've just ruined an entire audience. Bye-bye.